Welcome to our first episode at the Henry Allen Trust podcast. My name is Dawn Allen. I'm co-founder and co-founder of the Henry Allen Trust and director, and I'm joined by the lovely...
Hello everyone, I'm Danielle Fade and I am Dawn's office manager and PA.
Hello.
How are you?
Welcome. I'm good. I'm nervous. Are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
It's like our first time. Yeah, should we be honest?
Yeah,
we're going to be honest. We are nervous.
Really nervous.
I was going to say pooping myself, but that's not really the right phrase, is it? Great, Dawn. Great on your first podcast. Yeah, I feel it's a totally different thing for us to do, isn't it? Here at the charity.
Yeah.
Totally different, guys. So yeah, it's a new experience.
An exciting experience and something we've been wanting to do for a long time. So it was great to meet Stuart. And
it was amazing, wasn't it? Like that opportunity. It was like our universe just aligned with Stuart, wasn't it? And so we're so grateful to have Stuart on board and supporting his local children's cancer charity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so exciting. So, what are we going to chat about, Dan?
Well, we don't normally stop talking.
No, we don't. This is true. This is true.
But we decided today that we were going to discuss kind of how the charity started, introduce ourselves, because I feel like a lot of people see us around on our social media. I feel like we're quite open. Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do?
But we kind of feel that maybe new followers or people that have just started to get sort of involved in the charity might not know sort of the background of the charity, and a lot of people love to know about us and ask us quite a lot of questions when we're out and about what we do, what our roles are within the charity, and kind of ask us some quite personal questions about our lives and stuff. So we thought we'd start this podcast with introducing us and
absolutely
about our lives and stuff. So,
definitely.
So obviously, do you want to let everybody know kind of how the charity came around?
Yeah, of course. So the Henry Allen Trust is Henry's last wish. So Henry Allen is my little boy, my superhero, who will be forever 4 because of a childhood cancer called neuroblastoma. Way back, we didn't realise, you never realise that children get cancer too. And for us as parents, Mark and I, it was the most horrific experience. We knew something was wrong with Henry, but we didn't know what. In our wildest dreams, never did we think that Henry would be diagnosed with one of the rarest forms of childhood cancer, which was stage 4 MYC-N amplified high risk neuroblastoma, which is utterly heart-wrenching. You can't actually comprehend when you get told. We often say it's the C word, and I couldn't say cancer for a long time, and it's only been over the last few years that I've been able to actually say the word cancer. You don't put cancer and children together. You always think it's your cancer you get as an adult is because of your lifestyle, but as a child, there is no rhyme or reason, which is utterly horrific. And our journey began. And the most horrific journey started. Horrific.
Henry was an incredible little boy, wasn't he?
Oh,
and
thank you.
Obviously, I've known Dawn for a while.
And how do you know me? How?
And obviously, if we sort of go right back, I don't know if you'll remember this, but
go on.
I remember.
Are you going to make me cry?
No, but I remember when you found out you were pregnant, because Dawn didn't know she was pregnant.
No, I didn't,
and
guys.
At the time, I was living in Gifford Park.
Yeah.
And you came round and told me, and we were like, "Wow,
I know."
And Dawn you still have a part in sort of your fitness and your dance background.
Absolutely.
But Dawn was coaching cheerleading, and was you TA then?
Yeah.
Was you still
No. What was I doing?
Remember. You got into TA after you had Henry,
yeah,
didn't you?
after I had Henry. So obviously I wanted to be a school teacher.
What were you doing before?
What was I doing before? Oh my gosh, I've done loads of things, haven't I?
Working for I don't know. I can't remember.
I think I was working for a corporate company, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then,
I think I was.
Obviously, you had Henry, and we used to help each other with childcare.
Absolutely.
I know you have a lot of some trauma behind some of the memories, so it's nice when we sort of chat, and especially with Lissy. Especially with Lissy, because we used to help each other with childcare.
Absolutely.
And Henry and Lissy, obviously, we
Very
both started.
close.
Then you got me into cheerleading. I
Yes.
started to help you, and we would tag team
Absolutely, with
childcare. So Dawn would teach, and then
I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
you know.
and then-
so with my complex PTSD, guys, sometimes the trauma blocks stuff out, and you have
Yeah.
a mental block. And that was one of my mental blocks. Yeah,
and we'd meet each other at the gym.
Yeah.
I'd have Henry and Lissy,
yeah.
and then we'd switch, and then I
No
would
wonder
teach.
I felt like sick tumbling. Makes
Yeah.
you wonder now. When I was 6.5 months pregnant, I didn't realise, guys, I was one of those people that we got told obviously we couldn't have children. So kind of blocked out some of the signs and symptoms. I was quite tiny back then when I didn't show at all. But what an amazing miracle.
Yeah,
My miracle.
and he was funny, wasn't he? He was cheeky.
He was hilarious, like so mischievous, and up until 2 years old, like completely normal. Like those milestones you have with children. Yeah, completely normal up until about 2 years. And then he sort of had like some pains in his legs. And obviously my husband, Mark, Henry's daddy, is like 6'4". So we just thought it was growing pains. But then those pains got worse. The night terrors, the night sweats, like the night temperatures, and numerous infections like tonsillitis after tonsillitis. But everyone's like, it's okay. It's just sort of
And he just
teething.
started nursery, hasn't he?
Just started
He was going
nursery.
to nursery, and
Absolutely.
you were being told by the doctors and other parents, oh, it's normal.
Absolutely. And even though in the deepest of your hearts you knew something was wrong, when you have that reassurance and being a more mature mum, as I was told by the healthcare professionals, I just put it down to me being over anxious and being a first time mummy at a mature age.
I'm an anxious mum, love.
Yeah, it's hard though, isn't it? It's so hard to not think that actually it could be something. But then I noticed one day when Henry was having a bath that he had a bit of a swollen tummy, and that tummy got bigger and bigger and bigger.
And when you did go to your local GP, what was the outcome of that? What were they were...
Well, first of all, we got told, it's nothing, because Henry would have like a 40 plus temperature at night, and then I don't know why I'm laughing, but in the morning,
I know what you're going to say.
In the morning, he's running around like a headless chicken in
Yeah.
the doctor. So it made me look like a liar.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain, I was begging my GP. But the funniest thing is, Dan, I never got to see the same GP twice.
No, and that's
So
a problem that we're still having at the moment, isn't it,
problem.
with some of our families and
There's no consistency. There's no family doctor anymore. So
No.
you've got no continuity. You have to repeat the same story about 10,000 times, and nobody listens.
And did you feel that the doctors were compassionate with you when you were going in there? Did you feel they were rushing you? Because obviously
Rushing.
with my role now, I'm obviously working alongside you, and I'm now supporting families as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm hearing the stories that our families that we're supporting are telling us. And one particular family that I've been working very closely with, took them a year to sort of
Absolutely.
get a diagnosis. So even though your story obviously, feels like yesterday,
It's still happening
we're
today.
talking, 10 years, 11 years on, families are still having
We're
the
still
same...
struggling.
And
Absolutely.
since the pandemic as well, I feel that we're still fighting for our families that we're supporting to get that... To get their voice heard and
Absolutely.
to get as parents, and we hear it with adults as well, and and as an adult you kind of just think, I'm not going to bother going to the doctors because...
But you should.
But
And that's
with
the
our
thing.
children, we're having to tell our
Absolutely.
families, and this, we are still getting shocked and blown away by the stories that we're hearing. And this is not just in Milton Keynes. We support families up and down the country. And when we're talking to those families, some of the families that we work with, for example, in London, we're hearing the same story, aren't we?
Absolutely. It's across the
Yeah.
country and across the board. So it's not just in Bletchley and Milton Keynes
No.
and in our surrounding areas, but like you say, it is up and down the country that our families and our children and our young adults are still experiencing this all these years on.
Yeah.
Like nobody would listen to me. They put me down as an overacted mother. They judged me. And I think that's the worst thing, guys. So when we did get judged and when we did eventually go to the hospital, I was basically accused of neglecting Henry.
Yeah. And again, that's something we're still hearing,
hearing, you know. It was so good that there was a guy called Ak Hussein, who I owe Henry's life to, really. He'd just come off a stint at JR at Cameron's ward and was at Milton Keynes Hospital, and it was like a light bulb moment. He saw the signs for Henry, and then we were rushed straight over to Cameron's ward in John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford. And that's still happening now, Dan. And that's the worst thing. And that's why we're here now at the Henry Allen Trust, to make those signs and symptoms, to create that awareness. But it's not about scaremongering, is it?
No, we don't want to scaremonger people. We don't want to... We like trying to get awareness across to know if there is a family who are going through it. Because a lot of people still go through this and they might not necessarily want to reach out to us at first. We meet people in the hospitals. We went to Birmingham Children's Hospital just last week.
Recently,
and it's the common things we're hearing. It's a sort of, nobody would listen to me.
No. Being judged.
Feeling judged, or overactive mother. And then it kind of has that knock-on effect of where trauma comes from, where the anxiety is coming from.
Yeah, and it's magnified, you know. And it's trauma for the child or the young person that is dealing with this disease. You know, we never want to think that our child has childhood cancer or a form of cancer. However, the GP awareness, and obviously in the hospitals, that needs to come first. And that's what we really are trying to achieve here at the Henry Allen Trust. You know, with the GP awareness seminars that we take part in, or the education side in hospitals, that I think is so fundamental into early diagnosis.
And there really is the doctors and the nurses that we meet. I mean, we're not sitting here and saying that, you know, we don't think the work that they do is incredible, because it is. We meet these GPs, we go into hospitals, we support nurses.
We have Henry's nurses.
And we speak to those doctors and those nurses, and we build up relationships with them.
Yes.
So within the Henry Allen Trust, we also, obviously, we support children, teens, young adults and their families, but we also do support the doctors and the nurses. We build up those relationships with them. So
we also support their wellbeing side of things. So we have Kat, our wellbeing counsellor, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's what she does, is she goes in and she actually supports some of the trauma that the nurses, the care assistants and the consultants and doctors are actually facing at the moment. Because we actually also forget what pressure the NHS are actually under. And if there's charities like us, Dan, that can actually help people and help and support them within the work they do, I think we need to do that, and more needs to be done. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to it being Henry's last wish.
Yes.
Obviously, Henry he just made everyone happy, didn't he?
Thank you.
You know, my memories of Henry, he was always smiling. Him and Lissy were always being cheeky.
Always.
They were running around. And it's nice to hear. So Alicia is my daughter.
She's also one of our young ambassadors.
She is. So obviously Ethan and Alicia, my two older children, remember Henry. Alicia really remembers playing. She remembers some really nice memories, doesn't she? She remembers coming round to dorms.
Sometimes she'll like share stuff with me, guys, and it is just, like I said, with my complex PTSD, sometimes I do forget stuff and I have that mental block, and it's so lovely when you meet someone, and especially Lissy and Ethan, when they share stories or when anyone shares stories with me, it does make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, and she remembers coming round to your house and having dinner and sitting up your breakfast bar and Henry's party. So like you were saying, that makes you feel really warm.
Absolutely.
And it you know, and I feel like that as well, because obviously Lycia's 16 and she still has those memories, and she will randomly just come out with things and you know, we did a radio show.
Yes, we did.
Dawn tricked us into
team building
day, and actually you invited Alicia along, didn't you? And she came, and we interviewed each other as a trust, and I was so proud of her that day, because she remembered things that you and Mark,
we didn't,
you know,
remember.
because of the trauma that you've been through in the hospitals and things like that. It was lovely to hear her say that, because you know, at the time Henry was poorly, my dad was unwell, and
absolutely,
you know, we were in the same hospital at different sides of the hospital and going through a different journey. And she has memory block from that. You know, she has memory block from her granddad. So when I hear her at that age talking about Henry, I find it really like refreshing that she does remember those things, and the pasta and the tiger and, you know, Henry running around and his gorgeous hair. So
blonde surfer dude.
Yeah, and I love that. And there's a picture that you often share, and it's my mum's favourite picture, and he's got his gorgeous hair, and he was just a vibrant, fun, he always had a smile, and if you shared a picture of him, you just got warmth from that picture. You know, he was just the kindest, you know, even at such a young age, he was so kind, and he was always thinking of everyone else. It was always like he was
above his age, wasn't it? Yeah. Like going through our journey. And sometimes Henry was the one that gave Mark and I the strength to carry on. You think we had such an intense treatment, and some of those treatments were vile, like awful. And, you know, at such a young age, 2 years old, like going through chemotherapy and going through all that stuff that a child should not be doing. You know, the corridors turned into our playground. You know, he'd scooter up and down the corridors whilst having chemotherapy with the pump trailing behind him. You know,
and that's what you know, it's giving me goosebumps. No, that's all right. But when we go to JR, for example, I love hearing the stories, you know, that the nurses remember of Henry.
I know, and it's so
you
lovely.
Know, we arrive to these hospitals and the nurses come and give you a cuddle, and, you know, I'm building up those relationships with them. But I love to hear some of the stories, and particularly in JR, the things that they now have in place are because of Henry.
Yes.
You know, in school, there's a school in JR, and it's such a cute little room.
Yeah.
And you go to the hospitals and you don't know what to expect. And I think when you go as a volunteer, or obviously now I'm working closely with the hospitals, you don't know what to expect.
No,
and it can
don't.
be really, I mean, the first time we went to JR, I had my first experience of somebody was ringing the bell, and I got really overwhelmed, and, you know,
because it's such an amazing journey, and when someone rings the bell, it's all of your emotions, and particularly for you, it's your first time on the ward, and you see things, you smell things,
but you just kind of you know that, especially obviously me now working so closely with you, and obviously you know, you sharing your journey with me, and I know that it's happening. Like I'm not naive to it, because I'm very aware that it's happening. But when it's so different when you arrive there. Like you always say, you feel like you're with Henry when we go to the ward. So when we go to JR, you know, you feel safe, and you feel like, you know, and it is upsetting. But for me as well, I wasn't sure how I was going to be, because obviously my own self, you know, I'm suffered with health anxiety and things, and I was never sure. I said to you when I started the role, like, how am I going to be? Like, do you think I'm going to be able to do it? And
it takes a special person, Dan, to
I'm
do
so
it.
proud, like, to be part of it and to be able to give to those families. But I just love hearing the stories of, oh, do you remember when we were here? And I think that's the scooter with when he had the pole. And just hearing those stories for me is just, because going to an oncology ward for families is, you know,
it's another experience,
you know, that you don't expect it, or it's the last thing you imagine, but they make it so special.
It's like a different world, isn't it? It is like when you hear me say, oh, I feel like I'm going home, or I feel like it's home, because we spent 2 years there in and out of hospital, and your nurses, your consultants, your doctors, the care assistants, the play assistants, they become your family.
Yeah, and
they become your family. The community nursing team at Milton Keynes, they become your family. They come into your home nearly every day, and you build up that bond. You have to quickly build up a trust and build up that bond. And I do feel like when I do leave JR, it is upsetting, because I feel like I'm leaving Henry behind, and I know I haven't, but that's in my head. But I also know what a magical difference we do now because of Little Man and Henry's last wish.
And Henry's wish to you and Mark.
Yeah.
He made you pinky promise, didn't he,
He did.
to make the other children happy.
He did. So we had a nightmare through our journey, Dan. Absolute nightmare. We obviously went from Milton Keynes to JR. We then went to Birmingham Children's Hospital and then off to UCLH. So we travelled around to get the treatment necessary for Henry.
And with that, just for everybody else, because obviously people won't know, it depends on which cancer you have as to where you are, isn't it? So
absolutely. So there's different oncology
not necessarily
wards.
in the area that we live
definitely
in.
not.
So if we have a family here, they may have to go up and down the country and stay there, and there's no support for that, is there?
No, there isn't. And that's where our financial grants come in. Like Mark, Henry and I, we had no financial support. We got told that Henry was too young to understand, and so we never got a treat or wish granted. We got told to sell our house because we owned our own house. We had no financial assistance at all. Mark had to carry on working full time.
And you stayed.
I unfortunately had to give up my job. And so it was so testing, and it is still testing on a family now to not have that support and to be told that Henry was too young to understand. But it's our memories, crazy. So it's your family's memories, it's the siblings. Like Henry doesn't have any siblings, but it was the siblings that matter as well, the whole family. I always say when your child is diagnosed with cancer, the whole family gets it because you are all dealing with it and trying to juggle so many things.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard to understand, and having a child that's so poorly, that's immune system is so low. Sometimes I couldn't even go out and get bread and things that Henry wanted because we couldn't leave the house because a common cold could have killed Henry.
And you obviously had fantastic support around you at the time.
We were so lucky to have the amazing community behind us in Bletchley and Milton Keynes and across the country that really helped and supported us when we started the Henry Allen Appeal.
I was just going to get onto that. I was going to say, how did we... So for me as well, like I always feel like, or Henry would have, he always wanted to help others.
Always.
He was... Again, even so young, he was always, like you say, he was saying, come on, mummy, get your makeup on. If you didn't have your makeup on or your nails on.
I didn't have my makeup, my nails done and a necklace. I needed my necklace.
He was always saying, come on, mummy, you've got to try, wasn't he?
And there was a time in hospital, I've just got to share this, there was a beautiful teenager and she'd just taken her wig off and she was feeling really poorly. And he went over to her and he said, I'm going to get really upset. He went over to her and he said, you look beautiful with or without your hair.
See?
He said, will you come and play with me? And she hadn't been out of bed for about a week and she got up and started playing football with Henry. And some of the teenagers and the young adults that were in treatment with Henry, like the mums would say, thank you so much. He's really pulled him out of bed today. Or like there was one teenage boy that was playing on his PlayStation. Oh my gosh, he had the patience of a saint. Henry wanted to play. Well, of course, he didn't know how to play the PlayStation, mucked up this whole young adults game. But like the mum was like, that's so good. Like he needed that. So Henry would often...
He kept everyone going, didn't he? In the ward. And
there was like, so let's do this, for instance. One of our sayings came from Henry and Nurse Natalie. So one of Henry's treatments was horrific. It was part of his immunotherapy. He had... an anti-GD2 and then an injection, and the injection would be given in his leg and he knew it was going to hurt. You could hear the screams. I can still hear the screams now. But he skipped down the corridor. He grabbed Nurse Natalie's hand and said, come on, let's do this. And she said, it's going to hurt. He went, I know, but come on, let's do this. And he knew, like, within an hour, he'd be fighting for his life, Dan. 40 plus temperature, convulsions, sick. But then I knew within 2 hours, hopefully, he would be okay again. Yeah. So it's those memories that give me strength. And whenever I'm having a bad day, I was thinking, no, come on, let's do this.
Yeah. And that is one of our sayings within the charity, isn't it? Of let's do this. And that's what made him so incredible. And, you and Mark, he's such a credit to you and Mark and the things that he would do, and still being cheeky along the way. And
still
even
so
on,
cheeky.
We talk a lot, especially when we're travelling up and down the country and going to hospitals. And I love hearing those stories, and I love hearing, like, you know, within my role now of what we do, because obviously I've known you for
snivelling
many years, and you know, you hate it when I say how many years we've known each other.
No, you're not allowed to say that, Dan, because that gives away my age.
And then obviously I've been supporting you and Mark and been a volunteer for many years, and then now I'm sort of heavily involved in the trust. But even on the days where I find it, you know, when we go to the hospitals and it's when you meet those families, everyone's always smiling.
Absolutely.
Or the children, we went the other week and Dawn dressed as a character.
Do you remember, guys? I don't know how my head didn't fall off.
Who was that when you knocked
with
it on the
little one that wanted to dance, and I thought, I can turn around in Paw Patrol's feet.
No, you were doing ballet.
I was doing ballet.
Yeah, because she was a ballerina.
Yeah,
wasn't
I was
she?
doing ballet, and completely forgot that I had massive feet on. Well, I went flying, didn't I?
Yeah.
You just caught me. Head just nearly came off, but we managed. We saved it.
Well.
We styled it well, didn't we?
But those visits for me as well, even on the days where I think, gosh, like. I always think of Henry. Like, we've done some challenges. We did a challenge on Saturday.
We did.
We did a swimathon on Saturday.
I'm still aching.
And for me as well, I'm always like, I've got to, you know, we've got to do this. You know, we've got to be there for those families.
We've got to hope, dream, believe
absolutely
that anything is possible.
And I think, you know, those sayings help me. Like, let's do this. Or I mean, I get a lot of fire in my belly, and I want to, you know, sometimes take on the world and do loads of different
We both do. We'd love to have the money to do all of that, wouldn't we?
Like, for example, this morning, I was awake really early this morning, and I just start having loads and loads of ideas. And, you know, what we do is so special, and, you know, the support that we have from our local community.
And up and down the country now, isn't it? It's amazing. But it's tough, guys. It is really tough running a charity, and even though we've got so much fire in our belly,
there's a lot that happens behind the scenes, and the things that we do. I think people just think that we're in the car doing a live,
just happens,
or breaking the draw. I did
breaking the draw.
If you do go back and watch any of our lives, this morning's live was the best live.
Danielle made me jump, guys. She broke my drawers.
And we do, you know...
We say we put the fun into fundraising,
and I think,
and we try.
You know, as you know, it is tough, but I think we are there to create these magical memories and smiles.
And that's the reason Henry didn't get his last wish. If it wasn't for our local community, we wouldn't have got what we got. So
did you want to talk about your... You want to talk about Henry's last wish?
Of course. So when we found out, I always knew that, and I'm trying to change this. So I always knew when we were going to have bad news, we'd get brought into, I'm tapping the thing.
That's right.
When we knew that we were going to get bad news, we'd be taken into a room, and in the middle of the table would be a box of tissues. I've now hopefully asked the consultants and everybody not to do that, because you know that was going to be bad news. So when we got taken into the room, so after we finished at UCLH, Henry had rapid arc radiotherapy, which was pioneering technology back then in London. So we spent 3 weeks away from home, and I was pretty scared to be in London on my own with Henry. And that's where Henry said, "Mummy, we've got to try to do this." And I thought,
which is massive for
4-year-old telling
4-year-old,
you that you can do this and it's okay for Daddy to go to work, was pretty scary. But we had the most magical adventures. So Henry would be put to sleep in the morning, he'd have his radiotherapy, and then the shop at UCLH, he got friendly with the little man who owned it. And every morning he got to pick what he wanted from the sweet shop. Henry was like, "Do you want a toy? Do you want some Lego?" He went, "No, thank you, just some hula hoops." So Henry had a packet of barbecue hula hoops every morning. That's what he had after his radiotherapy. So a carton of apple juice and some barbecue hula hoops. And then in the afternoon we'd go off and have lovely time in London doing things that he wanted to do. But towards the end of rapid arc radiotherapy, Henry kept telling me his food kept getting stuck, and I started to notice more swelling in his chest, and I knew something was wrong. which was the hardest thing, to ring Henry's consultant, the amazing Kay Wheeler, and say to her that something wasn't right. So after we finished radiotherapy, she said it might have just been scar tissue. So we got rushed back to JR and tests began. We got the devastating news that Henry had relapsed and there was nothing more that they could do. Which is heart-wrenching, because looking at Henry, you knew something wasn't right, but you didn't think he wasn't going to make it. That was my miracle. That was my little boy, and I couldn't lose him. And to be told that, there's nothing more that anyone could do. The consultants all over the country tried to find different chemotherapies, different concoctions, and it is hard, Dan. As a family, how do you know when to stop? When do you stop treatment? When do you go home? And that stupid saying of quality over quantity, which again I'm trying to change within the NHS, because no one wants to hear that when you hear your child's palliative. But then Mark and I and it's hard, guys, as parents, how do you know? And when you disagree, Mark wanted to stop treatment, I wanted to carry on, because I couldn't believe in my head that I was going to lose my little man. So as parents, how we clashed,
and this is such a hard journey as it is, without having that added pressure to know what to do. And Mark and I always had that rule that we talked to Henry together, always. And during our treatment, we had this song. So instead of, I don't know why I'm laughing, but it was the way we dealt with stuff. So, the Black Eyed Peas, my lovely little lump. Well,
so we used to say, song. My lovely little lumps, take them out. So whenever we had treatment, that's what we'd joke about. So we always said, we'll try and take the lumps out, those bad lumps and stuff. And
that was how he understood.
That's how he understood, absolutely.
Because you and Mark has a very dry sense of humour, doesn't he? We haven't really spoken about Mark much today, but he's got a really dry sense of humour. And, he sort of brings you up when you're down, and he says, come on, you've got this, big girl pants, and he really
always
does.
Positive pants on.
He's there to kind of
wholeheartedly.
You're such a unit, but he tries to, really pick you up.
Absolutely. So if I can take you back, so Mark had gone back to Click Sargent House to have a shower and have something to eat, and Henry and I settled down for the night, and I just couldn't sleep. How can you sleep when you're told that news? How? I mean, you can't. And I thought Henry was fast asleep, and I was talking to two of the nurses. You know what it's like, would you like a cup of tea? No, I don't drink tea or coffee. I just want some water. But they were very comforting, two amazing nurses, Beza and Tracy, and literally I said to him, how do you know when it's time to stop? How do you know? What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? And Henry woke up. He was listening to everything, and he said to me, Mummy, he said, it's not going to work. I said, what do you mean, darling? He went, no more treatment, Mummy. I go home. He said, can I go home to my bed and my toys, please? It broke my heart. How at 4 years old can a 4-year-old boy, my little boy, tell me what he wanted? How?
And that just shows how remarkable he was to have. I mean, and that's a credit to Mark as well. I know I keep saying that, but that was because you've always, as a family, honest, you did it together. You were always speaking to him honestly. You had those family, you had those family chats with him. And as much as, like you say, on the tough days, and for you then, that was Henry saying what he wanted. And,
absolutely. It was Henry's wish to go home.
And how was that did you feel, did they listen? Did the doctors listen?
So we were sort of advised that we could stay in hospital and that Henry didn't have long. They say if a child deteriorates within months, it's months. If they deteriorate within weeks, it's weeks. It's days. And we could just see the tumours growing. It was just the most horrific thing ever for a parent to watch and stuff. And we had to decide whether to go home, whether to go to a hospice. But Henry made that decision. and preparations began to go home. We did have a bit of a nightmare going home with our palliative journey because our palliative team, the complex care team at Milton Keynes Hospital at the time, couldn't access Henry's Hickman line, and I promised Henry no more treatment and nothing. So he had to have a leg line put in where they could access him. And he never forgave me for that, which is really hard as a parent because I know we needed that leg line in to go home. And I apologised to little man. And it's hard, Dan, because I broke those words. But preparations began to go home. And we asked Henry about his last wishes, what he wanted. He wanted to have fireworks. So our local community, which was amazing, spoke to the local mayor and we had our own fireworks display from our house. Henry had his last Christmas day where we had a very famous Tech Santa come and visit. We had the snow dome fill our garden with snow, which was just magical.
He loved snow, didn't he?
Loved snow, loved Christmas. And that was where Henry's last wish came true. So Santa, he had all these lovely presents and Santa said to him, so, you know, all these amazing presents. And he said to Mark and I, Mummy, Daddy, I'm not going to get to play with them. He said, can you give them to my friends? And he made us pinky promise to help the other children. And that was the last thing he said to us.
That just shows what an incredible, amazing, kind superhero.
At 4 years old, that's just insane. Sorry, everybody.
No, you don't have to say sorry.
I mean, who does that at 4 years old? Who knows? God, I miss him so much.
One of a kind. He was incredible. And his legacy lives on. You and Mark work incredibly hard along with some amazing volunteers to, you know, even on your days when you feel yourself that you can't go on, you've got little man in your mind and we keep pushing and we keep going.
Absolutely.
And with Henry's last wish, obviously, I know we touched on it earlier, a little bit earlier, but you, alongside all the trauma and all the hard, treatment, you had an appeal running, didn't you?
So we raised 140k within 10 months, which was incredible. And over the years, we've used that money to help support children, teens, young adults and their families battling childhood cancers.
So with the appeal, you had a fun day, didn't you?
Yes, we did. Henry loved his fun day, which is now one of our annual events.
Big event, yeah.
So this year, through all our trauma, we are celebrating 10 years being a charity, which is insane. But yeah, just more and more fundraising to hit more and more families. Since Christmas, we've had like 25 new families diagnosed, which is insane, isn't it? And we have at the moment, is it 32 financial grants that we obviously need to...
Yeah, so with our Treats and Wishes programme, obviously, within the charity, we provide treats and wishes and financial grants.
We do.
And just within this year that, that I've been heavily involved and working in the office, I've really noticed that, so with regards to our Treats and Wishes programme and our financial grants, it's where a family can apply to our charity and especially with regards to you being told that Henry was too young to understand. We don't have a limit. So we support children from birth up until their 18th birthday.
Up until their
19th
birthday.
I'm getting good.
You're getting there. Go.
But we don't, depending on our funds,
absolutely.
It could be any treat and wish.
Could be anything. Yeah.
So we have treats coming for sort of iPads. It could be a day out, laptops.
We've recently done a wheelchair, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Which is lovely.
We've got. If you follow us on social media, please go and have a look and show some love, because those photos
magical.
are beautiful, aren't they?
Absolutely magical, and it makes a difference with how your fundraising helps us. Like every single penny goes back into the trust to help support families like ours, and to really not go through the journey we went through. We had no help, we had no financial support, we had nobody granting wishes,
and also with what else as a charity we provide, it is support for families. So
it is.
Which is the side of my role that I'm really sort of embracing now, and I'm really enjoying, and I'm starting to support families, speaking to parents. We do our annual fun day,
we do
fireworks and our ball, and obviously they're big fundraisers for us as a charity. They're our big events. However, it's all of the donations that we receive. We have support from corporate companies in Milton Keynes. We've been really lucky that we've got some amazing companies supporting us for the second year this year.
So amazing. But we still need more. We
do. So if you're kind of listening to this and thinking, wow,
how can we help?
We're only just touching on kind of what we really do. But there's so much people's time we're so grateful for. We
Skills.
We've got I love our office. But our
By the way, we do not have no plush offices, guys.
Well, I think it's cute.
We have a very cute office in the back of my garden.
Yeah, and it's very personable.
Very.
And with regards to back to our fundraising, we do challenges. And sometimes I'm blown away by the amount of support from the local community, because we get phone calls coming into the office. I think there's so much that goes on behind the scenes within the office. I think
absolutely.
I get a lot of the time, oh wow, you have loads of fun, which we do. And I've had a couple of comments, oh, you're just out in the car all the time. But
are you on a road trip?
Yeah.
Are you on a jolly?
There's so much behind what we do with regards to putting those, the
events together,
with
the hospital visits. Absolutely.
Obviously, we have the amazing Darren that works in the office with us. So we call ourselves the 3Ds, and we just work as a team, I think, and we bounce off each other, and it's just so much fun in what we do. But what I've really noticed in the last year, especially since being involved, is the amount of requests for more financial grants that we're having. So when I first started last year, it was a lot of treats and wishes, and sort of days out, going, to Legoland and things. But I would say, especially specifically the last six months, it's been heavily on financial support to pay for things like parking at the hospital, food for families, and as you said, Mark worked, and you obviously gave up to look after Terry, which you wouldn't have any other way. Right. But this is the impact that it has on families, and then
impact
for us as a charity. That's what we're trying to change things within the hospital. We're trying to, support the nurses, the doctors, the families.
So should we say what we've been doing behind the scenes?
Well, we've been wanting to say it for a long time.
So this is a first, guys, an absolute first with what we've been working on. So whilst we was in hospital, and as Dan has previously touched, this is still happening today. Parents do not get fed. If you're in isolation, like we were at some times, we were in isolation for 6 weeks. I couldn't go out to get any food. No. How am I going to eat?
Which I found,
which is hard.
Yeah, and I obviously, my little girl Rosie Lilac, she was poorly in hospital, and I just assumed when I was in hospital, because she was only in for 2 weeks, that it was just, I naively thought that if you're in hospital for a long period of time, then you get fed and you get food, and
definitely not. You may get a piece of toast.
I remember you saying, we went out, I think it was me and Mum, we went to the theatre and we were talking, and you just said, all I wanted was, we quite often have those deep conversations, don't we? And you said, all I wanted was a shower. And it's just those small things that, you take for granted in a way. Like,
I just wanted a piece of fresh fruit. I wanted a nice salad that hadn't been sat in the fridge for like days. or I just wanted some nice
And it's so
food.
hot in there as well, isn't it, in the hospitals?
So hot. And I couldn't, at one point, I couldn't even leave Henry. Even if I thought he was asleep and someone came to watch him, he would cry out for me. So even trying to make something was so hard. I was so lucky to have a lovely friend called Laura who lived in Oxford. So quite often when she was batching up her dinner, she'd come and drop me some dinner or some fresh fruit. But yes, so a family doesn't get fed. So our mission is to launch Henry's Helping Hands. Yay! Which is exciting. So we are in talks with Milton Keynes University Hospital at the moment about giving a family 1 hot cooked meal a day. Now for me, that doesn't sound a lot, but it is.
Yeah,
1
absolutely.
hot cooked meal a day. I would have given anything to have a hot cooked meal, guys. Anything for that.
And when we went to Birmingham last week,
we launched.
We did, and it was talking to those families, wasn't it? And
it was,
and hearing the feedback from. I think one family said it cost them £17 for a sandwich, a bottle of. I think it was even a bottle of water.
I think it was a bottle of water. Yeah, you're right.
And a packet of crisps. And they obviously,
£17,
so it was
guys,
£17
in hospital.
Yeah, in the shop downstairs.
How can they warrant that though, Dan?
And if you're not working, and also we've had another literally how I see it, and some of these.
Yeah.
I mean, we read these treats and wishes come into our email, and we have phone calls.
We do.
But when we get them come through of an email, you can hear the plea and the
trauma,
the desperation from
they just
parents.
Want food,
you know,
sometimes just food.
We had a family who had their badge upside down.
Oh my gosh,
disabled
the disabled
badge upside down because they were in a rush. Little one had to go in as an emergency.
Yes.
I mean,
and they got a ticket for it, guys.
Yeah, so they've got a ticket. And now, because they haven't got the money to pay for it, that's now built up, hasn't it?
And guess what, guys? When your child is in having treatment, you as a parent are not even, you don't even think about yourself.
No.
So if your child wants something, you know, sometimes even the meals that are going round, an oncology child doesn't want to eat at the same time as a child normally would. Like Henry would have, I don't know, ice cream for breakfast and then want a cooked meal in the morning.
Yeah.
Then probably cereal at night. So their whole food and their whole taste buds, because of the chemotherapy, it completely wipes them out. So as a parent, you're constantly doing what you can.
Like you would
put
give
yourself
them
last.
anything because obviously, you know, this morning my daughter was sick. So I was thinking, is it a bug? Is she just, you know? And I was like, do you want chocolate? Do you want this? Do you want that? And
just
you will, as a parent,
absolutely.
you will do whatever you can.
What you can.
Because then it kind of gives you a bit more of a gauge of like where they're
how
kind of
poorly
at,
they
aren't
are.
they? So
if they don't want to eat, but they'll eat a packet of, like Henry at one stage went through pickled onion Monster Munch because of the strong flavours.
Yeah.
So you'll find with a child going through cancer treatment, it's very strong flavours. So we couldn't always get a packet of pickled onion Monster Munch. So we'd put out, if anyone's coming to JR, like mum dropped some stuff off to us before.
Yeah.
Like I wanted a lip balm.
That was on the other side.
That was on the other side. And Henry needed pickled onion Monster Munch and I needed a lip balm and just an apple. That's all I wanted. When mum was like, what do you want? I was like, I just want an apple.
Yeah.
And that sounds really silly, but like what we did at Birmingham Children's Hospital the other day was our first start for Henry's Helping Hands.
Yeah, and that was that has been so welcomed. We have a company called DS Smith, and they are one of our corporate companies, and they've been supporting us. And last year they made these amazing boxes.
How lush!
Like,
with Henry's
about
photo
that
on
big,
it.
and then they had our logo.
A logo, yeah.
And we went shopping, didn't we? And we were like, right, okay, we're going to get all these bits, and we were trying to think. And obviously, I haven't been in a hospital for as long as you, but we were kind of thinking about what we could put in there, and then we just had this brainwave of like, let's use the boxes.
And
from that because we went there and it was very busy that day, wasn't it? And we took Paw Patrol, and we took the boxes, and from that, which I've that's the parents were so grateful, but we've now had some more parents come through that we're now supporting. So just from that one visit, we're now going to be I think we've had about 6
Yeah,
referrals,
6, 7. I
we?
think we had another one, so 7 now referrals come in.
And they were saying thank you so much. And we put breakfast bars in there.
Yeah.
We brought some noodles
snacks.
and things. And
so I can't even say it. Non-perishable items.
Yeah.
That if a family do want a cup of soup or did want a pot noodle, something they could come off the ward and just have, or some biscuits to go with like their tea and coffee.
Yeah.
And fresh fruit.
Oh yeah, we took that.
We took a fresh fruit
Yeah.
basket that went down, a real treat. So guys, again, you know, if you're looking for a charity to support, that's something we are started to roll out into hospitals now. So we did care packs, and we still do care packs if hospitals request them.
Yeah, and we do personalised ones for families, don't we?
Absolutely, as well as the treats and wishes, as well as our well-being, counsellor support, and also that support. We haven't spoken about that support.
We've got so much to talk about, haven't we?
I know. And this is just the start, guys. This is episode 1. And first, do you know what's really scary? Like, Dan and I were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to talk about? And we said to Stuart, God, what if we can't talk? Well, we haven't stopped, have we?
We should know that about
we
ourselves.
We haven't stopped. So I hope you're still with us.
Yeah. But yeah, if you are kind of, you know, this is only episode 1, so we'll
episode 1
topic. We are going to ask our followers and our supporters, our volunteers. We're going to get guests in, aren't
Absolutely.
we? But if there's anything you kind of want to know more about,
didn't we have a question on?
We did from
Facebook.
Emily. Yeah,
what's
she
her
wanted
question,
to know
Dan?
what our favourite big fundraising event is. So out of the events that we do,
gosh, that's really hard, isn't it? How hard is that?
I love all of them.
Go on then, you go first.
Oh, I knew you was going to say that.
Touche.
Well, like we were talking about in the car, I love all of them for all different reasons.
So go on then. What's all your different reasons?
So Fun Day,
Uh-huh.
I just find I've been really lucky to, when I've done the Fun Day, I've been with families.
Yes.
So I've been in the VIP area with families and getting to see, just talking to the parents and getting to watch them just come along and have a day where they can just have fun
and just be
and meet the siblings and then chat to mum and dad if they want
Absolutely.
to watch the children and their siblings, because
that's what it's all about, isn't it? Spreading Henry's happiness.
We support the whole family.
We do.
So that for me, I think Fun Day, fireworks I just love, because they are, I'm not being funny.
What are you going to say?
They are the best in Milton Keynes, because last year it was raining as well, wasn't it?
Oh.
Again, I was lucky.
Yes.
I was in the VIP area with our lovely families, and we were right at the front this year with our families, and we have our little section, and it was raining. And Dawn, every event we do, bless her, she always thinks it's you know, you get nervous.
I do get nervous.
Then it makes me nervous.
I do get nervous.
But she was like, oh my gosh, you know. And I think I'd seen the Milton Keynes one before. I hadn't seen them from afar. And ours were just the best. And again, it gets bigger every year, because last year the year before last,
Absolutely,
we thought, wow, we can't get any bigger.
We could never get any bigger.
And
we couldn't smash it.
We were worried because of the rain.
And then we did.
And I think they couldn't get the cars. It was just, and the feedback that we get as well, you know, is lovely to hear. Even on the night, people, you know, it's such a community feel. And then obviously our ball, because we get to dress up.
Glitz and glam.
Yeah, and we just get to be...
We're just about to announce that as well, aren't we? Yeah. This week, guys. So, watch this space. This week, we're going to announce about our black and gold ball. We have some exciting news.
Yeah, really excited. And
the Fun Day. Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
So, for me, they're my... And I find on the ball as well, you can get to... like just
schmooze,
like talk to everyone, and you just
feel
a bit special, because
are you special? You know, being special.
I've had a comment about this outfit, to be fair, but it's just nice, isn't it?
It's nice to be
kind of have fun,
sophisticated. Yeah,
I try.
Yeah, no, it's nice just to.
But what about you? What are your favourite? Because you obviously.
So the Fun Day, because obviously Henry's first Fun Day, Henry was here, which was lovely, and he enjoyed it. He felt like an absolute superhero.
He was in the big wrestling
Yeah, it was
ring,
in the
wasn't it?
wrestling ring, which was awesome. I'd love to bring the wrestlers back, this fun day. Do if we can get hold of some wrestlers.
Do you know any wrestlers, anyone?
Anyone wrestlers, Stuart? Anybody? Anyone listening to the podcast? Anyone know any wrestlers? Put in a call out. Stuart's saying he doesn't. Stuart, not acceptable. You know everyone. So so the fun day for that. Do love the fireworks because we light up the sky for Henry and all our angels. We do get a little bit of backlash for our fireworks because obviously it's on Remembrance Sunday, but we did speak to and put it out to the community and they had no problem with that. So that's good. Definitely fireworks because Henry loved fireworks. The ball because obviously it's in September and we support Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So September, we're going to launch something later on this year where we'd love all the buildings to glow gold. Mm-hmm. Can you light up gold for Henry and the Henry Allen Trust? And also maybe put on a fundraiser, like dress up as a superhero during September. When you go back to school. So I think we should really get everybody in place.
It's going to be it is a big year for us this year.
Yeah, it's a massive year for us this year.
I know it's a bittersweet, it's bittersweet.
It's hard.
But we've got some really exciting things coming up. We've got some challenges coming up. I always get drawn into...
I've got so many.
We did a swim-a-thon on Saturday.
We did a swim-a-thon. No, it wasn't. I hated it.
It was really good.
No, it wasn't.
Fun.
Never doing it again. Hate swimming.
We are.
We're not.
We are. Because
I'm not.
Yeah, we are.
No.
We've got to.
No.
Well, I met Charlotte again yesterday at the hospital.
Oh,
one of our ladies who did our swim-a-thon with us. And she was like, her first words to me were when is the next one?
Oh my gosh.
So I think we should do that again, which was amazing.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So many people wanted to do it with us. We've got the 100-mile bike ride again this year.
I'm getting on top of a plane this year. I'm doing a loop.
You get me into, I get you in, I would say.
You get me into more stuff.
I would say.
Let's put it out there, Dan.
It is me. I really do have these wild, crazy, and I'm like a bit of a
ball in a china shop. Is that what you call it?
I don't know.
Ball in a china shop.
I'm just a bit crazy with ideas. I love to train.
Help.
I love to get to a physical point where I don't know, like
she's crazy.
I feel like I am. But with heights,
she's still crazy.
Absolutely no way. Zero. I can't even go on a ladder. Like I'm not.
No, you're not great with.
No. So
I thought I was bad.
No, I'm really bad.
But you are
Nicole
bad.
can do that with you because she was all over it on Saturday.
Yeah,
so she's taken one for the team.
So guys, Nicole is the wonderful lady that helps me with my wonderful creations with my hair, but she's also Dan's sister and also a really big part of our volunteer.
But she likes stuff. I'm putting it out here on this podcast. That Nicole Phoenix Ray Hair and Beauty. She can do that.
She can
because
defo.
I am.
We're not going there. No, you're not going there, are you?
I do other stuff.
But guys, hold on a minute. If we had, I'm just thinking right here, Dan. So you know how you get me roped in. So maybe if we set you up a Just Giving page and we hit £500, it means you would have to do it, right?
No, please do
guys,
not.
come on,
everyone
help me out here.
Hate on me, don't do it.
Help me out here. Come on, guys. Help me out here. Look, if you ask, you have to do it, right? And it is for Henry. Did I just say that?
You can't use that.
Oh, I just did.
Oh gosh.
So
I don't think it will get to 500.
Oh, you never know.
Don't.
Now she thinks we're not going to be able to fundraise that amount of money, guys.
When she's
giving us a challenge.
How high is the plane? Like that high?
1,500 foot.
Yeah, but I'm not good. I'm not good with.
Well, you don't
feet.
look down. Don't look down. Look ahead.
How tall am I?
5'4", same as me. Maybe.
So 1,500. That is a lot.
That's how you didn't jump out of the plane, did you?
No, I did not.
No, Nick did. We had how many of us? Was there 25 of us?
I spoke to someone the other day about jumping out of a plane and they said they would never do it.
Oh, it was the most amazing experience. I loved it. Although I did shotgun going first and I did shotgun going up in the first plane.
Tummy here
but I was strapped to a very nice man called Matt.
I'm not fussed about being strapped to anyone nice.
But I could never release my video. I had a bit of adrenaline.
Did you swear?
Oh, I dropped the F-bomb. I dropped every bomb. Like literally, like
No.
Matt was like, "Come on, let's do it for Henry. Let's do Superman." So like through the air, I'm like doing Superman and like being an Iron Man, you know, like doing all
I
sorts
wouldn't
of
even be able
things.
to open my eyes.
Well, as I landed, yeah, the F-bomb come out. It can never be released. Unless anyone knows anyone that could actually dub my video.
No, I'm not doing anything out of the plane.
Oh, Stuart's looking at me. Yes, please, Stuart, honestly. But please don't judge me on my swearing. I'm not one for swearing, am I? She's gone silent. Honestly, guys. No, it takes a lot for me to swear normally. Unless I'm a bit crazy.
I'm not doing that.
Why?
I'm just not.
Come on, right. So, guys, we
got
need to come up with
nervous.
another. She's like proper like twisting her rings here, guys. No, we
But
definitely.
if you do want to do a challenge for us,
excuse me.
let's change the subject away from me now and think of anyone else. We've got some of our corporate partners. We have huge support from Evolve Law. So we've got some of the guys there going to do a challenge, and now the guys from the hospital.
We've got
help us.
Seckingtons as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is it this weekend?
They're doing a walk on Sunday the 3rd.
The amazing hair salon over in
March.
Broughton, isn't
Yeah.
it? Thank you guys.
They're doing 16 miles, the 3 Peak Challenge. So they're doing that.
I would have loved to have done that, but I've done no training. Absolutely no. Well, I've been cycling. So last week, Hannah and I took on, I think we ended up cycling 75 miles last week. Not in a day though. So I need to be able to do 100 miles.
Yeah, but you'll get there.
We will get there.
Get there.
We will get there.
So if anybody wants to do a challenge,
Or sponsor us.
Yeah, or
like, you
sponsor
know,
us, yeah.
or become one of our corporate partners, guys. Come on board, let us know and get in touch. Come and support your local children's cancer charity who support every oncology ward up and down the country.
yeah. And we'll be super excited to come back with our second episode. Don't know what we're going to talk about. People can decide for us.
Absolutely.
Like what they'd like us to talk about next. So
we've got some guests lined up on some future episodes, haven't we?
Yeah.
And also some families and also some of our volunteers, which would be really, really, really exciting. But we would just love to say thank you to Stuart for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah.
Our first podcast.
Yeah, we'll look forward to our second one.
Check.
So, yeah, thanks, guys, for listening.
Thanks for listening and catch us on the next episode.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Dun, dun, dun.
Ta-da.